فوفو، ايش بتقولي لشباب الضفة؟
الطعام 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 الطعام.
Of a girl essentially watching her mom get ready to blow herself up, to be a suicide bomber.
بين أحضانك يا ماما مكاني لا بلاقي
Toy or a present for me.
هدية جايبها لي طب ارجعي يا ماما كنت شايلة ما بين ايديكي لغم مكاني دلوقتي بس عرفت ايه كان أغلى.
Wait a minute. I know now what was more precious than us. So, I mean, essentially, what are they talking about? What do they mean, what is more precious than us? They say it as in, I don't know, I get the impression based on the music and that sort of thing that it was, something positive. I ascertained that it had a positive connotation behind it based on what I can see was more important to us. However, from my point of view, from where I'm sitting, it's a bit of an insult, It's, nothing, for me, nothing should be more important than your children. And most of all, land. Land? It would still be tragic and really kind of not make much sense, but
يعني ضحت بكل ما عندها من أجل وطنها ولم تأبه لي يعني هم فلذات أكبادها حتى أنها ضحت في سبيل الله ضحت من أجلهم في سبيل الله.
To give your life for land in any context
سنظل على نهجها على نهج الشهيدة المجاهدة ريم الرياسي حتى نحرر وطننا من
is the land really anybody's?
الغاصب. صديقنا السود تعرض للخطر وأصيب. قولي لهم إنه السود مات بطل مات شهيد.
The Jews killed the bunny. The Jews killed the bunny. Oh, he's dead. So sad. Oh no. Those terrible Jews. They killed the bunny. No. We will sacrifice ourselves on behalf.
I am the Palestinian child. My toys are the rock and the rifle.
My friend, do you know what the 48 lands are?
Haifa, Jaffa, Acre.
Correct, and Nazareth, and many more cities in these lands. The 48 lands are all ours and will return to us.
Take along a rock and knife. Stab and strike in Hebron. Do not consent to the rule of the despicable.
This incitement comes directly from the Palestinian leadership.
We welcome every drop of blood spilled in Jerusalem. These attacks are individual acts of heroism, and I am proud.
Calling an attack and kind of what their attacks are is, they get a knife and they might stab somebody and, it's terrible. They kill somebody or they kill one of the Jewish soldiers. And yeah, he's dead. And obviously, that's a terrible thing. But there's millions of them. You haven't changed anything. It wasn't heroic. How was that heroic? The guy wasn't looking, you pulled out a knife and stabbed him in the back, or even if he was facing you. Pulled out a knife and stabbed him in the neck. All right. That's one Israeli down. 15 million to go.
Seeds of the next violent Palestinian uprising against Israel have already been planted in these camps. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
But also for propaganda. They throw stones at Israeli forces and roll burning tires toward them.
أنا عندي الإعجار أفضل. والله شو والأهل الوالد
You know, if they think
شجعونا على هذا الشيء. بس بتعرف إنه رمي الأحجار تقتل.
they do know that Israel is a nuclear power, a nuclear Western power, right? With United States, American, and French backing, don't they? Do they think that they're going to win with rocks? Do they think that throwing rocks is going to help them?
Doing this for decades, bringing precious children to a battle force to destroy Israel.
فرفور يا جدي ما تخافش. أنا يا فرفور تعبان كتير. لا يا جدي. حاسس حالي بدي أموت. لا يا جدي. حاسس حالي إني قريب من أرض الربيع. لا. بتمنى يا جدي إنك تحافظ عليها. حاضر يا جدي. أنا جدي. أنا جدي. لا يا جدي. أنا جدي.
I'll spare you most of this, but you know, in the end, it was. I'll spare you most of this, but in the end, it was, of course, the Israelis that killed old poor Grandpa there. Grandpa was fighting for Tel Aviv, I guess. And of course, not Mickey Mouse tries to go back and buy the land back from the Jews. That far forward, so stubborn. Far forward, he's so stubborn. Ladies and gentlemen, Mickey Mouse is dead. They're gonna have to close down Disney World.
لقد استشهد فرفور وهو يدافع عن أرضه، يدافع عن أرض آبائه وأجداده. استشهد على أيدي المجرمين القتلة، قتلة الأطفال الأبرياء، وقتلت إيمان حجة، قتلت محمد الدرة وغيرهم الكثير.
Hamas TV, it's actually Al-Aqsa TV, it's run by Hamas in the Palestinian territories. He was a lovable little character. He looked a lot like Mickey Mouse, had a high-pitched voice, and he said such things as, "You and I are laying the foundations for a war led by Islamists. We will return the Islamic community to its former greatness and liberate Jerusalem. God willing, liberate Iraq,
guy.
God willing, and
I hadn't
liberate
realized
all the
his
countries
channel
of the Muslims
had been around
invaded by the murderers." And then he would pretend that he was shooting an AK-47 and throwing hand grenades. Come on,
this hasn't changed much, has it?
It's a kid's show, okay? He's like, okay, we will liberate all the Muslims' land from the invaders and the murderers, and we will go with AK-47. Come on, how's that not comical? But really sad news. Farfour is dead.
مين عمو؟ أحمد. هو شرطي؟ شو بيسوي طب الشرطي؟
بس الحرامي واللي بيعمل مشاكل
وبطخ اليهود صح؟ انت بدك تصيري زيه؟ ان شاء الله لما تكبري. لما طخ اليهود. كلهم؟ كلهم؟ طيب.
Oh, graduation ceremony. Some real training. These kids are 5 years old. It's kindergarten graduation. Spectrum. nuts, man. No, this is just another example of how unafraid these Palestinians, these Gazans are of Israeli soldiers. If they were being victimized by these guys, as claimed, then they wouldn't have the audacity to do this. They're not scared of these guys, clearly. You don't act like this towards somebody that you're scared of. You just don't. You stay as far away from them. You stay as far away from them as you possibly can. You don't go and start kicking them. Especially when you're like a 12, 14-year-old boy. They're not scared at all. Scared of that tear gas. Even when that went off, you can see here that there's no trepidation. There's nowhere in these girls' minds that they think that might have been a dangerous explosive device. They're quite sure exactly what it is, because I'm sure that they have done this before. And they know the IDF well enough. They know, these soldiers and checkpoints or whatever it is. They know them well enough to know that they're not actually going to do them any harm. That's why they're not worried. That's why they have smiles on their faces. That's why they're laughing. They're not scared. They know right well what the IDF will do and what they won't do. It's like that girl that was in court, taken prisoner.
Further shows children as young as 10 years old brandishing assault rifles and other weapons. Meanwhile, aid groups are warning of unprecedented levels of humanitarian disaster. There are fears of the conflict escalating and spilling over into other regions as well.
It'd be taken immediately.
For others, a tool of pro-Palestinian propaganda. Ahed Tamimi made headlines after a video showing her slapping and kicking an Israeli soldier
Little girls,
went viral.
14-year-old boys,
16-year-old is being charged with assault over the incident. This Wednesday, an Israeli military court ruled Ahed would remain in
It's not about
detention
whether you think that they're right or
goes
they're
to
wrong.
trial.
That's not the question. The question is that they don't fear them. They're not worried about consequences. Because people that are frightened of other people don't do that. Especially not young girls and little boys.
They call them the Pioneers of Liberation and the Sword of Jerusalem summer camps, run by Hamas and Islamic Jihad. These videos, posted by Memory, the Middle East Media Research Institute, show what the youth of Gaza are doing this summer.
We did not come here to enjoy ourselves or to play or anything like that. We came with our soul.
It's just sad. It's just sad because when you are indoctrinated at such a young age and you learn that a certain people
high school and college
entity
to
is
participate
horrible and
in the
terrible,
camp,
and they have
target
done this
practice
and they have
involves
done that. And
1847
this is the most important
anti-tank
thing
weapons,
to
video
you.
simulations.
You're taught that land is the most important thing, the most
phase,
important thing
Allah
to your
willing,
people.
these boys will be able to confront the plundering enemy.
Then that's
and
just what you're gonna
disfigure
believe.
his face in the next war.
In May,
And it's
Hamas
no
and
more
Islamic Jihad
these
fought
kids'
the
fault
11-day war with Israel,
than a kid's
the
fault that
sword of
I
Jerusalem.
taught them
Their
that
goal, preparing the next generation
black
for the next
was
war.
white their whole life. Sort of illustrates how these people have been able to do what they have done. You know, especially October 7th and things like that. You know, I think a lot of us wonder, how is that possible? How could somebody actually do those things? Clearly some of us
in order
aren't.
to strengthen our determination and to liberate Jerusalem.
Most of us are.
These young men and boys
And
learned
this is how.
anti-Semitism at an early age.
We asked Hitler why he left some of you alive.
Indoctrination.
He did so in order to show us how wicked
Being
you
taught
are.
from a young age.
We will come to you from
Being
under
told
the
that they're
ground
terrible in exactly
and
the
hammer
same way
fear into
that
your
they
hearts.
did to the
And
Germans.
above the ground, we will tear your bodies apart with our rockets. Scram into the shelters, you mice.
That Jewish
Sons
people
of
are less than
Jewish
human.
women.
Memory has been
That they're
monitoring
not really
these summer
people.
camps for 10 years.
And that's how the Germans started seeing them. That's exactly how Gazans see them. Probably people in the West Bank, Palestinians, that's how they see them. They're brainwashed, indoctrinated, told that land is more
Hamas
important
took
than
over the
life.
Gaza Strip 13 years ago in a bloody battle with the Palestinian Authority.
Just a bunch of sand.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Just the two of us.